Darkly's near the podcasting beast from the east with the Professor John Gotti, the king of R&D, the troll master, the data analyzing, the just a conqueror of his own fate. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner, the Terminator, Propadamus, Professor Omega. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner.
I think you said like a few things twice, but I am the best podcasting machine, the least hype machine, and the wise man for your reigning, defending, undisputed podcasting champion, and soon to be the reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight champion of the world, our tribal beast, the head of the table, Los Tranquilo, the Pied Piper of podcasting, the Sultan of Squat, the sanitizer, Doc Leesner. Acknowledge Lee. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I think, Wednesday is hump day. We got the NBA trade deadline rapidly approaching. It seemed like it came up super fast. It's
Well, I
tomorrow
don't know if
now.
it's because it rapidly approaching. It's the fact that we actually had trades occurred this season.
Yeah, usually it's a dud. Like so many people are like, oh, this person's gonna be traded, this person's gonna be traded, this person's gonna be traded, and then nothing happens. And you're like, what the bleep? But it seems like this year, there are some hands on the execute button, and I'm talking about the trade execute button, of course. But I don't know. This last one, obviously, yesterday we talked about the CJ McCollum trade. Today, after we recorded, we had the Kings and Pacers 6-player deal, which I just kind of shook my head at. Indiana is going to receive Tyrese Halliburton, which some people I
We're very
know,
upset about.
yeah, some people I know. My brother, maybe you would have to let me know, but some people wanted him on
Shadow.
the Knicks. They thought he was a better prospect. I believed in Quigley. I think that was the same draft. I believe.
Quickly, yeah.
I believe it was the same draft, but some people preferred Halliburton over Quigley. But Buddy Hield, we know Buddy Hield's story, and Tristan Thompson probably just a salary filler at this point of his
Yeah.
career.
I mean,
But
he's
I'm
been
so
salary filler for much of his career, honestly.
yeah. But a lot of people were down on Sabonis, and I'm surprised. Like, a lot of people says that Indiana won this trade, but I'm like, I like Sabonis. I love Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. All great players. I really like Sabonis. He's a great player. Somebody that's gonna, you know, give you those Kevin Love numbers. We have to see if he's the same type of player Kevin Love was. I know we talked about, big fish in a small pond with Kevin Love, when he was in Minnesota, went to Cleveland and he just didn't perform as well. But I've always liked Jeremy Lamb. I wish the Rockets didn't trade him, even though I was happy to get James Harden. I wish that the Rockets would have kept Jeremy Lamb all those years ago. But Sacramento getting Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and Sabonis, to go with some of the
It's
players
not
that
it's
they already
not
have is
bad.
good.
Sabonis
Yeah,
was an all-star,
right,
despite what people may want to say.
right.
And I think it's more, and I talked about this often, it's the fall of the big man, the extinction of the big man in the NBA. But he is
I like him
really,
though.
really good.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. And like I was saying, I mean, Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday are no slouches.
Nope.
Obviously Halliburton has a big upside that the Pacers are receiving. A lot of people feel like the Pacers won this deal, and I think it's closer than
Well, and now the
people
question with the
are
Pacers is what
speculating.
they're going to do with Miles Turner.
Well, they said it was going to keep Miles Turner yesterday. That's what they said. But I mean, if
That's
the
what they
right deal comes
said.
along,
Yeah.
But now that Sabonis is gone, that kind of opens up the door for him to play a little bit more minutes. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Indiana, both teams aren't teams that have been jockeying for an NBA championship in years. Obviously, Sacramento Kings since that screw job that happened 15, 16, 20 years ago.
Yikes.
Uh,
Yikes. It's
but
almost 20
you
years
know,
ago.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's a good trade. It's exciting to see a good trade. Obviously, we have a lot of speculation between, the 76ers, the Nets, the Lakers. Where will Ben Simmons land? Will he just stay and play in Philadelphia? I don't understand what's really going on, but I don't think that the 76ers should trade away any pieces that they don't want to deal. Like, yep, Ben Simmons, sure. You want to get rid of, I think what they want to get rid of like $50 million with him and I forget the guy's name off the top of my head now, but the small forward that they probably shouldn't have paid in the first place.
Well, they did it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
mean,
I I thought it was a terrible idea.
again, now everyone's looking at hindsight, but we
That's
both kind
Tobias
of said
Harris, by the way.
this was yeah, I was gonna state the person.
Yeah, no, it's Tobias
Um,
Harris. Yeah.
but the problem was like they only had one shot. They had one
Hmm.
shot. Like they had championship level team for 1 year, one season. That's it. After that, that was it. And you know what year that one is, right?
That was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That was when they had
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler.
That might have been 3 years
Like,
ago.
yeah, it's a few years ago.
I mean, and you look at the trades, and if I'm Philadelphia, I mean, the Nets are asking for not only Ben Simmons, but they're asking for Matisse Thybulle or Tyrese Maxey, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm sending those guys. I like Thibault a lot, a great two-way player. I think Tyrese Maxey would be a guy that you can plug in at the point guard spot, move James
Hmm.
Harden to the two if that's what you're gonna do. But if I'm the Sixers, I'm like, man, I think you have more leverage. Even though Ben Simmons doesn't want to play for you, you still have more leverage because they're still kind of winning. So that's I don't know. I'm trying to get more. I'm trying to get more assets in return than just James Harden. I'm sorry. That's my guy from years ago, but like I just
Oh,
said,
oh,
like
uh
I just
oh.
said, I would have rather, looking back on it, kept Jeremy Lamb and a couple
Hmm.
I forget who else was in that trade, but when I look back at it, you know, the people that we gave up for James Harden, although he dominated for years, I think we could have built around some of those guys that we gave up. And I think that's usually what you talk about with the Knicks, trading away people that you can build around.
Yep.
But we'll have to wait and see. Lastly, unfortunately, we had the news of Bradley Beal being shut down for the season with wrist surgery. Honestly, when I first saw this news, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a situation where he shut himself down so that he wasn't traded to some, worse situation. But
Which
obviously he had to.
honestly, very possible.
Yeah, I was like, man, did he shut it? I wonder if he shut himself down. Like, I don't want to be traded, so let me shut myself down. But he does have a torn ligament in his left wrist, so they did go ahead and shut him down. And it is time for the Wizards to really build a team around him, or let him go.
But
Like
yeah, let
let
him
him
go
roll,
and start from
let him be.
scratch because like his prime years are getting behind him real fast.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure
But
he wants
last,
to be able to be part of a team that is growing toward the championship instead of just joining another
yeah,
super team.
he'll go to the Lakers or something stupid
Uh,
like that. But
again,
before we,
again, like tell me if I'm wrong or right though. When I keep saying
no,
this,
you're
it
right.
seems like
You're right.
every single time, every single season, it's always how can the Lakers get better to win the championship? But you
But do you
never
know
hear it
why
about a
though?
team like Sacramento who've been
You know
improving a
why?
little bit.
I can tell you why.
Why?
It's because other teams successfully built through the draft,
I
and
agree.
the Lakers don't, and they can't because they always trade their draft capital. So there's no new coming. Like, we think about when the Lakers lost Shaq, what they do? They went out and drafted Andrew Bynum.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you can't get better if you don't have any draft capital ever. You can't just live and die on free agency,
Yeah,
or
but
you're gonna
Bynum
live
was
and
a
die
high
on.
draft pick, right?
He was, because the Lakers had capital, draft capital. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, even
Oh,
Cole,
because
even
it was through the yeah, that's right.
yes, that's what I'm saying. It was a draft pick, and he paired him with Paul Gasol. They paired him with some of the people that they had. Now the Lakers are trading away all their first round picks. You know, they're swinging and missing on these free agent guys, and they're bringing all these veteran guys, thinking, hey, bring all these veteran guys in, and let's put them on a team. But like I said, Westbrook is shooting bricks. I didn't even hear anything about Carmelo this season. They lost Andre Drummond, who they didn't play a lot last season. I would have thought that Horton, is it Horton Tucker?
Mhm.
I would have thought that he would have been more of a focal point of growth. But they let Kyle
Growth?
Kuzma, yeah, they let Kyle
Growth?
Kuzma walk. I thought he would have been a big time
Growth?
growth.
And you just said Kyle
Yeah,
Kuzma immediately after that.
yeah,
Growth.
that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Tucker, Kuzma. They had a whole bunch of people that they could have built around, but they let
They
them all
had Larry.
go.
They had Larry Nance.
Larry Nance,
They had a
yeah, a
lot.
lot of those
They
guys,
had a
a
crew.
lot of energy. They had a lot of energy, but they let it go. But really quickly, Johnny, any things that you want to see? And I'll go next. Anything that you want to see from your Knicks or don't want to see? I'll say focus on what you want to see rather than what you don't want to see.
So I still think the Knicks can get De'Aaron Fox if
Oh,
we can trade Kemba um, and Fournier within that
Fournier.
deal because they're not really playing him. Kemba is like unnecessarily stagnant as far as getting rotation time.
Rotation time,
Um,
yeah.
and again, we have some really great young people. Quentin Grimes, who was our rookie, has been playing amazing. But for some asinine reason, Tibbs just doesn't have a consistent rotation, and that's kind of hurting us. I know people want to talk about no, getting De'Aaron Fox will help us out so much. De'Aaron Fox, who should have been a Nick, and he wanted to be a Nick, but I think that's something that they can make happen, and we can give them Kemba, we can give them Fournier, and they can give us De'Aaron Fox, maybe a second round draft pick to compensate. I think doing something like that will work out. I know Doc always talk about trading Mitchell Robinson, but I still think he's going to be part of that cornerstone. We have a great young nucleus. And the fact that we didn't give up so much when we traded Knox earlier this season, like, just shows how good of a strong core that we have. And we just need to establish that and keep that young core together. But that's what I think that we should do for the Knickerbockers. I think we should trade Kemba, trade Fournier, get the Aaron Fox, get a second round draft pick along with that deal, and then we can make sort of a push towards the players. I don't think we should really try it and then get like another asset in the draft, you know, mid round pick and then like 2 second round picks to help us out. Like that's what I
Yeah.
think that we should do.
No, I think that's good. And for the Rockets, it's tough because I know that nobody's coming in the door that's going to change our franchise this season.
No,
We got Kevin Porter
no.
Jr., we got Jalen Green, you got Jay Sean Tate, you got, Alfred Sengun. Christian Wood, I think right now is a short term answer. I think, you turn it over to Sengun and kind of let him be the big, because he kind of has a little bit more moves. Although I like Christian Wood, I'm not sure he's a long term answer.
No,
Uh,
I think he stopped being a long term answer after he got hurt.
yeah, and honestly, I don't think it's one of them situations where he, he has a bad mindset and a bad, attitude. I mean, he came in, he wanted to work with James Harden. James Harden, said, "I'm out." We got rid of Westbrook.
Yep.
So John Wall came in. They said they don't want to play John Wall. That's another guy.
Which is insane. Like
Yeah. But you want to see Kevin Porter Jr. You want to see Jalen Green. So it might be time to see what we can get for John Wall. Or just buy him out and let him go. If you're going to buy out Westbrook, I don't really understand why you won't buy out John Wall. It doesn't make any sense. But if somebody wants John Wall, you put out a feeler, see who wants him.
yep.
But I think honestly, it's also time to let Eric Gordon go. Um, he's a great player, but he's off and on, the injured list. And I think at that 18 to $20 million range, he's somebody that could go to a contender, I
I can
guess.
see him going to Atlanta.
A lot of people have him going to the Suns.
Him
You know,
going to the Suns would be great. Him and Chris
yeah, a
Paul
lot of
getting back
people.
together. Him
Yeah, a
being
lot of
part of that
people
second unit
go.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think Eric Gordon would be the only person that I could see them trading. Everybody else is pretty critical point to the growth of the Rockets. Again, just sitting there and just like, okay, how can we grow? I would probably get rid of Daniel Tice also. I didn't think that that was a good move. He's okay, but I probably wouldn't keep him either. That's just the two people I could think of, or the three people: John Wall, Eric Gordon,
Hmm.
Daniel Tice. I would look to move those guys because, like I said, paying Eric Gordon 19 to $20 million probably isn't something that's good for us long term.
No
Obviously, John Wall only has one more year, and I think I want to say it's a player
player option.
uh, option. Yeah, I think that's what this blue. I don't know. Yeah, player option. So he'll decline, and this will be it. So some people might want that as a quote unquote expiring contract, if he guarantees to opt out kind of thing. But we'll have to wait and see. But Johnny, we talked enough. That's probably the most we talked about NBA in a while.
In a
Shout out to
long
us.
while.
Yeah, shout out to
But it's
us.
more so things that we enjoy, talking about instead of what
True.
the media keep talking about over and over and over again.
Well, speaking of the media, and I know this is something you're probably like, what the bleep? But apparently Kyler Murray has deleted all mention of his Cardinal tenure on his social media, and that has gotten people going crazy.
It's a yeah, don't look too much
He,
into it, folks. It's
yeah,
it's a
so
power move.
so
Okay,
Ian
we see
Rappaport
we see we
said,
see many players do the same thing,
"Oh
and
yeah."
they either got traded to a better destination, like Von Miller, who did that, or gotten a big contract.
Ian Rappaport says he's kind of distanced himself from everything. There's basically just two pictures on his Instagram. The season didn't end the way he wanted. We know he's up for a contract extension in the offseason. Everyone's frustrated in Arizona about how it transpired. A season that had so much promise. As far as a firm word on why he deleted everything, he reached out to the agent and they got no comment. So,
Just
y-
give it a few weeks, and then we'll hear about him getting a big contract extension.
maybe unless he goes back to baseball. Like I said, it's a high chance that he might have went back to
Mm,
baseball.
no, the pattern's there. I've seen it with many of football players already, so I
Hmm.
can't look at this and go, "Well, he's going back to." No, I.
I can. The way he was getting chased around in that playoff game, I can. He practiced sliding all game long.
I mean, that's
Uh,
more on his offensive line.
of course, it was really, really bad, really bad. I'll say that. But outside of that, I don't know. I can't see, I can't see him going. I can't see where else he would go.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna throw in Tampa in there anywhere because I don't think so. But yeah, that's rough. But other than that, I mean, we didn't really have too much NFL news. I know we had some early mock drafts for some crazy reason, even though
Yeah, because
people are still,
we're about to have the combine.
yeah, meh,
That's
meh.
why they're trying to get people interested in the draft because the combine's starting.
We'll see. But Johnny, I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in mañana as we go over more news, more analysis, and the reads.
Number one, Auburn falls.